Welcome to the post game, everybody. Welcome to all of you patrons, best people on earth. And of course, thanks to everybody on the team. We appreciate all of you. Hope everybody's staying strong and staying safe. Continuing on with us is our friend, Matt Christman. Of course, check him out first and foremost at Chapo Trap House. But also, Matt, I'm sorry. I'm kind of off my usual TV anchor game here. You have a Twitch channel you're doing a lot of stuff on now, right? I should have done this up top, but we'll clip this for later. But talk about all the ways that people can get into the Matt Christman experience.
Well, yeah, the podcast, obviously. I was for a while during the first couple months of COVID. I probably did a daily stream on Instagram, and then later on Twitch. I took almost a week off, but I had one today, and I'm going to be doing them on a, if not nightly, semi-nightly basis, around 6 o'clock.
Awesome. We talked about dialectics, which is definitely something that you and I resonate on. What else has just been what else has been on your mind and in your process?
I've been trying to formulate just a way of talking or thinking about politics that breaks the spell, I guess, that has pervaded over people, whereby because there's no such thing as a social, being in this country, people have completely adhered to the sort of the wire mother of online to form their political identities and to provide the totality of their political worldview. And I know I'm part of that. I'm literally embedded in it because I that's where people find my stuff. But I've been trying to just express and synthesize a way to tell people to stop being on the internet while watching me on the internet, which is inherently a conflict, but one that I feel like it's really my only hope, because I've lost any kind of faith that any good can come from politics as it's currently practiced by people who, for most people who have even the best of intentions.
Yeah, it's funny looking back on if you read a great classic critique of television by Neil Postman, right? I think It's called Amusing Ourselves to Death.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the first wave of theories of the internet were this is the opposite. It's an active, not passive medium. So that's going to mean that it's going to be this technology that people are going to participate in. They're going to build new communities in. And it's well, number one, that actually has happened. Not in mostly the positive ways that these people idealized it. And secondly, it's actually, it's like the even more consuming Amusing Ourselves to Death medium, because it can amuse you in the exact microsecond way you want it any second of the day. In complete atomization. Was that inevitable because of the kind of origins of the internet, or has this been the path when we just turned it all over to the big four companies? What do you think the trajectory is of it?
I think the trajectory of all of these mass media, from television to the internet, really shows that the determining factor of the productive, mechanism. If you have a capitalist society, the introduction of a new piece of technology will destabilize to an extent, but over time will largely reify and accelerate every tendency within that mode of production. And that's what happened with television, and that's what's happening with the internet. And it's easy in the moment to lose that, especially with the internet, because of how deeply immersive it is, and how, unlike television, it gives the illusion of agency. And I think that's the most insidious element of it.
The illusion. Talk more about the illusion of agency.
because you choose where you're going on the internet, and you can choose to express yourself on the internet, and then people can interact with you, it can make that act feel more consequential than it is. It can make the idea of a post, it can, because if you have political beliefs and you find yourself stymied in any way to act them out in your day-to-day life, which is true of most people, then you will try to find a place where you can. And because the internet is a relatively frictionless plane for personal expression, you find that you can do it there. And so what ends up happening is that you put all of the psychic energy associated with your politics, all of that will to power that drives the political belief, you can get all of that validated virtually. Right. And over time, you become so invested at that level that becomes the only politics that matter to you, because they're the only ones that are real. And it's where you're getting your meaning, and where it's easiest to get your meaning. And it leads you to, like I said, that paralysis of analysis, because since there's no action behind it, since you're not doing anything, you're not seeing your theories tested in any meaningful way, they're not being challenged and changed by contact with reality, you will never get anywhere. You will find yourself on a hamster wheel, but you will never even notice it, because you will still have conflict, you will still have enemies, you will still have fights that will feel to you in every respect like actual politics being exerted, but you have not done anything, you have not changed anything, and most importantly, you have not built anything with anyone else, which is literally what politics is.
Right. And then it leads to gossip, witch hunts, trivia, nonsense, bullshit, the elevation of basically just all sorts of toxic, petty nonsense, which can fuel drama instead of like actual effort. I mean, I think of, this is like very TMBS meta, and I probably shouldn't even do this because of it'll blow my voice out. But I was joking with a friend of mine about like the idea of some like incredible leader like Lula, and obviously I'm a big Lula stan and everything, but like taking his speeches on Brazil and on labor and on international affairs or whatever, and then sort of like turning them into like, and this person also liked a post by someone who was affiliated with another podcast or what, like just in the sense of the type of kind of like reams of nonsense that come out of online discourse that substitute for like actual politics. Like, this person liked that thing, this person said this, I heard that, blah 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 blah. And then actually at the end of the day, all you're doing is getting incentivized to do all of this by the mediums themselves, who just want you posting, no matter what it is. That's the only incentive structure.
That's where the mode of production kicks in, because all of these formats exist to be addictive, to make you post more. And it is very rare that posting more or expressing yourself more leads to better understanding. It usually does the opposite, because the more you are doing that, the less you are receptive to anything else. And I'd say one of the most insidious elements of it is that it also encourages this subconscious, almost, but also conscious, competitive framework, whereby everyone is trying to stand out from a crowd of people who all have similar politics. And that means that the only way that you can maintain that position is by outbidding people in extremity of belief. And that means detaching even further your politics from anything plausibly related to the real world. Because at this point, you're not actually engaging with the world. You're engaging with a hypothetical group of people with a group of totally hypothetical beliefs that don't intersect in any way with reality. And at that point, standing out means getting even further from reality.
Right, because that's the way you get the attention. That's when you get the eyeballs, and that's like mass movement politics and social media micro careers are not exactly synergized interests.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of, I mean, the funniest manifestation of this, and this feels, you know, let's indulge in a little nostalgia and trash Warren people for a second. Although, if you're on the streets now, you know, if you voted for Elizabeth, I don't really hold almost anything against anybody forever. So, you know, c'est la vie. But anyways, that being said, I thought it was the best post, and people would be, you know, I think people would be confused by this. I didn't really, there were people I knew who supported Warren where it's like, yeah, of course, you're literally a fucking torts attorney. Like, obviously, you're going to support Elizabeth Warren. You know, sure, whatever. Oh, great. You know, we'll see you later. But the most annoying and incredible and insipid was the, you know, my class position and comfort is going to make me go for this like center left technocracy that has no, you know, has no actual teeth to it. So I'll do like, well, I'm supporting Warren because of some identity stuff and because I think she's more and more, you know, she has more plans or whatever the fuck. And, you know, before you criticize me, I'm a Ho Chi Minhist third world.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, well, excuse me, right? Of course.
Oh, yeah. The number of people who insisted that they're to the left of Bernie.
Right. No,
the fact is that no, you're not. No one was. Because what have you done? You've done shit. None of us have done anything. You're not to the left of anyone because you don't have politics. You just have opinions.
Right.
But being online solidifies those opinions in your mind and in your heart. And thanks to other people telling you, yes, you have these politics. You walk around thinking you basically, yes, I'm Ho Chi Minh over here. I'm Fred Hampton now because you think some things. Well, big fucking deal. Zero people were to the left of Bernie Sanders who complained about him because none of them had done anything.
They didn't do a fucking thing. This guy was fighting through a goddamn heart attack to get you health care.
Yeah.
And I'm a polyamorous Sankarite.
Yeah, right.
With a post-capitalist, pre-space age exploration socialism. So don't tell me that I'm not to the left. You know, it's like I remember actually the first time I lost patience with some idiot who was trying to run that rap on me in real life. And I was like, you know, and I don't remember what I said, but I said something like, oh, I mean, you know, of course. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, you know, as I like order my drink at this like fucking like outdoor bar in Brooklyn. I mean, like, you know, we're all Maoists here, obviously. So, you know, please, it goes without saying. I mean, we're all obviously organizing a countryside peasant revolution in 1920s and 30s China. I mean, it's a given. I mean, just even that kind of like fantasy universe, even on terms of like the other way that the internet can just completely mash historical trajectories. So like you can have like that new show on Netflix, Hollywood, and it's, in addition to just being unfunny, it's like, no, they didn't call people of color then. Yeah. And you should not write that they did because actually it's fucking insidious as hell.
I mean, that's what's so baffling. Like, you claim. I mean, if you want people to reckon with the historical reality of like racial apartheid in this country and its continuing effects on people, how is that helped by rewriting history to make it less racist than it really was, so that you can get points for being inclusive now? And it's like at the expense of any kind of historical understanding of how we got here.
Let's do a Nelson Mandela biopic where the apartheid authorities are like, "Yes, Queen."
Yeah,
and he's just like, "Thank you, but we are going to need to have a very hard conversation about your privilege." And that's what happened. That was how this might make you uncomfortable, F.W. de Klerk.
You just watched a Michael Brooks Show video. Subscribe to get them all. Why wouldn't you? Don't be foolish. Click subscribe below and become a patron as well. Patreon.com/TMBS. Thanks, everybody.